My favorite judge of all the judges we've shown in all these videos and stories and books, my favorite judge by far is Judge Susan DeLotte out in Cincinnati, Ohio. It was back in 2002 when Judge DeLotte, in this huge court ruling, basically outlawed racial profiling. So she made cops, and she's a federal judge, so she made cops, not just in Cincinnati, but all over the country, start jumping through a lot more hoops so they would stop picking on black people for no reason whatsoever. Now, Judge DeLotte was not shy about her political proclivities. She called herself an unabashed liberal. She married the biggest liberal lawyer in town. They lived in a big mansion. This was the liberal power couple of Cincinnati. And so they had these huge riots in Cincinnati in the year 2001-2, huge riots. Again, the people in Cincinnati were unhappy. The cops were always picking on them for no reason whatsoever. So they all started suing the city, and they all got together and they consolidated all their cases. They went judge shopping, and there she was, sitting all nice and pretty up on a nice little shelf, Judge Susan DeLotte. They got her case into her court. It was never a contest. She was on their side from the beginning. Everybody who sued the city won. Judge DeLotte won. She became the great liberal hero for finally doing something to end this ridiculous level of institutional white racism in the city of Cincinnati and all over the world by pointing the finger right where it belonged at those big, bad, nasty, racist cops. Sound good so far? Well, this fairy tale is supposed to end there, right? Everybody's supposed to live happily ever after. Until just a few years ago, all the black people that were supposed to be so happy with Judge DeLotte, well, they went off and had some chillin', and maybe they didn't know they weren't supposed to go home invading into the nicest home in Cincinnati.
It is nothing short of heart-wrenching to hear this federal judge pleading with a 911 dispatcher, swinging back and forth emotionally between ordering her, call U.S. Marshals, I'm a federal judge, and then in the next breath, just pleading tearfully for help for her seriously injured 79-year-old husband. Listen.
Indian Hill 911.
Yeah, 911. This is Judge DeLotte. We have a home invasion.
Okay, I have an officer at your house right now.
Please send more. There's 3 black men with guns at our house.
They're in your house right now?
Yes.
Okay.
My husband and the dogs are still there. There's 3 black men with guns and masks in our house. Call the United States Marshals. I'm a federal judge. Call the Marshals.
I will do that.
I worried about my husband.
I understand that, and we're doing everything we can. Can you stay there till you have contact with the officers?
Yes, I'm in somebody's house. I'm bleeding.
It's amazing how many people in Cincinnati and in the media just kind of ignored the fact that this judge who outlawed racial profiling, she gets on the phone with 911. The first thing she says is, hey, there's a bunch of black people in my house with guns. Help, help, help. Then in case the operator didn't hear it the first time, the same judge repeated the fact that black people were in her house with guns. That's racial profiling, Judge. And I also thought it was interesting that, so this judge who's created this racial Valhalla with her ruling saying we can't identify criminals by race anymore, she's running through the woods and she goes to her neighbor's house, knocks on the door. The neighbor wouldn't let her in. They wouldn't even answer the door. They said, no, go away. What kind of fear do you have to have not to answer your door to a woman in distress at night when it's snowing out? What kind of town is that? It's a town where, people are bundled up in their houses. They're locked in their houses at night because this kind of crap happens. Even though Judge DeLotte did everything that she could to pretend it was not happening. Anyway, let's get back to the crime and let's get back into something happening more in the present day. But that's what those fellas did without regard for the fact that they were robbing a white civil rights icon. Right up there with Martin. Abraham, Martin, and John. Yeah. Susan. So it's Abraham, Martin, John, Susan. That's who should be up on that memorial, wherever that is. Anyway, so I don't know what happened in Cincinnati since now and then, except that maybe the city got nicer somehow. And now people are wanting to move back in. The white people are wanting to move back in, and the way it works is you start moving on to the in, all the neighborhoods where white people used to live, where they were forced to move out. Now they want to move back in. They're kind of moving in on the fringes, gentrification. That's one of the things that has everybody in Cincinnati all pissed off. Now they're really pissed off about white racism in Cincinnati again. I don't see Judge DeLotte anywhere around, so I don't see any solution for this problem. But let's hear the folks in Cincinnati describe their life in hell.
People need to know what's going on down here at City Hall.
Each in their own words saying it's time to address systemic racism.
Creating racial hostility in our community, and it must stop.
The deep-rooted tensions overflowing to the mic.
We have nothing in our neighborhoods.
Was nothing short of a public lynching.
The black neighborhoods is on attack right now because of gentrification.
Dishing out a long list of priorities they want city leadership to take seriously in 2019.
It is your responsibility as elected members of this council to hold one another accountable, as will the citizens of this city.
If our eyes are open, it does need to be acknowledged that there is a lot of room for improvement.
The meeting put on hold as several council members respond.
There can't be change without you being here to hold our feet to the fire.
So if we want to talk about political freedom, we first have to look within ourselves and see how we get economic freedom. So we have to go up here and beg for our rights and beg for contracts and beg for inclusion.
Former Mayor Dwight Tillery helped organize the community turnout. He says this is a result of decades of racial disparity and years of unkept promises.
What is happening to black people in this city is almost criminal.
He's never seen a response or honest conversation about race like Wednesday nights.
We're going to continue to push. We will have rallies and marches next year.
One of the hot button issues tonight, an institutional racism study that would help city leaders determine what those disparities are that exist within the city. Also teach them how those policies contribute to the disparities and also possible change that needs to happen. Now, this study was already passed by City Council, already voted and passed, but it was never funded. Now, city leaders and some of those council members are saying it needs to happen now.
So there you have it. Life in Cincinnati is officially hell for black people. But the only reason I could figure out why is most of the people there were complaining about white people trying to move back into at least the fringes of black neighborhoods. Well, that sounds like life in hell to me.
Please, sir, I want some more.
Definitely know it makes the black kids angry.